It's a very familiar matchup, this time in a best-of-5 finals. In the bottom right for Psystorm, he is MaxPax. The top left for Team Mouse, he is HeRoMaRinE. What are you doing, Proby? Little forward wall. Little forward wall action. All right, that's MaxPax for you. Okie dokie. So these two face each other in these open cups frequently. Sometimes they are paired on the same side of the brackets, however. So most recently, there have been a lot of best of threes. The last 4 times they've played, all in the open cups, all best of threes. And went most recently, good for HeRoMaRinE winning the last 2, 2-1. And then before that, MaxPax won 2. And then there was a best of 5 for the Ward ATV qualifiers, which MaxPax won 3-0. So MaxPax was on a bit of a win streak against HeRoMaRinE, and now HeRoMaRinE's kind of turning it back. The last time they faced was earlier this month, so only 2 weeks ago. But, you know, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years. Well, 2 years is pretty insane. Players do talk a decent amount about how it really is just day to day. And I think it's very easy to understand if we think about our own play in StarCraft. Day to day can feel very different. So I don't know who to favor. MaxPax has been showing better PVT. He's less capped out, it feels like, than he was a year ago. But then every so often does kind of return to good old 4-gate, 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 DT, 4-gate. And it all falls flat on its face. But then other days, it'll be amazing, and he'll win super easy 2-0, 3-0. So it does absolutely feel like a day-to-day thing between these two. HeRoMaRinE's still able to claim this Open Cup as his own. He is still the winningest player of the Open Cup and gets to the finals very frequently, just not as assuredly as a couple of years ago. And in a best of 5, with the finals, with his home turf, I do kind of want to give it to HeRoMaRinE right now, but I really don't know. I think we're going to find out pretty quickly what form they're both in as MaxPax builds a Twilight Cancel. Wonder what this could be for. He very rarely goes into a 2-gate expand, for instance, from a Twilight Council. MaxPax has started to do a lot more Stargate, Phoenix, Colossus openers, which are very macro, very defensive. But if he opens up Twilight Council, I'm going to go ahead and say that it's at least 85% into a 4-gate link. That is how frequently he does it. HeRoMaRinE has played it safe with a high ground command center. Reaper opener this time, which HeRoMaRinE goes back and forth on it being a good opener or not. So he does try and get that scout. He did successfully get the scout in the Twilight Council. Command Center finally goes down location for HeRoMaRinE. It's actually going to be a Banshee opener from HeRoMaRinE. That's, I mean, it's risky. Assuming that MaxPax does basically every game go into a 4-gate if he opens Twilight Council. HeRoMaRinE should be very aware of the possibility, if not straight up guessing that it is 4-gate. And so this could be his plan to counteract it, but it's tricky. You know, you still have your same tank production, which is usually the most important thing about defending a 4-gate, and you can still build bunkers too as well. But the Banshee itself might not be extremely helpful. Defensively, you know, the Stalkers usually pair up with an Observer. Offensively, maybe the one Banshee is a surprise, or maybe they've already built a shield battery. In this case, MaxPax already building a shield battery. Even though he has no idea what his opponent's doing, he's still built a shield battery, so. Not in the natural. That would be a better choice for this first Banshee, but fortunately that choice is not being made right now. 4-gate is underway. Bunkers are coming up, walls are coming up, tanks are being well positioned. Howling actually scouts what is a very fast third base after a 4-gate. But MaxPax can still afford 4 warp-ins at a time. I have concerns. Only 1 tank is not all that intimidating, even though the blink doesn't reach it. A couple of pseudo blinks with a warp prism solves that particular problem, and now HeRoMaRinE is in a lot of trouble. Would having his Banshees at home help here? Yes, absolutely. There's actually no observer. Wait, is there? Am I blind? Yeah, there wasn't any observer, so it would have helped. But, you know, only for a limited amount of time. GG. Damn. I'm not sure whether there wasn't a bunker on the high ground, actually. I'm not I think a bunker would have been extremely helpful for that particular scenario. People are actually discussing AI and what the hell is that called? Alpha Star in chat. I might talk about it if this game doesn't get heated up too quickly. It is a best of 5 after all, so well, this guy in the top right's already up 1. We'll see if he can continue gaining the lead over the Terran. It is MaxPax. And in the bottom left, the Terran, HeRoMaRinE. So yeah, last game, HeRoMaRinE, I guess just went with basically a very gambly build. You know, that first Banshee didn't even go into the main, I think. I think it just stalled out waiting for the second Banshee. And the 2 Banshees would have pierced through that shield battery. But the timing didn't really benefit him. Even if he had managed to get those 2 Banshees on the mineral line shift queuing on the probes, he still would have ultimately died. And as I said, a bunker on the high ground would have made a big difference, because then it really helps, particularly against that pseudo blink. Yeah, I don't know if that is a actual response. HeRoMaRinE might have just been experimenting with something, which again, this is a great place to experiment. That's not just as, you know, kind of stupidly casual as the ladder where, like, you know, who knows what's happening. You know, this has a little bit of money on the line, and it's got some points. It's up against very good players, and people do take it pretty seriously. So experimentation here is, you know, some of the best to do it on, but yeah, that wasn't it. That wasn't it. Oh, wasn't it. It is a 1-Rax expand versus a typical Nexus timing from the Protoss after 7X core. So I guess I can touch on the Alpha Star stuff. Some people are just discussing, you know, how good it was. Oh, High Ground Command Center. HeRoMaRinE playing very safe. So, yeah, Alpha Star, kind of a sore topic, honestly. The developers kind of use and abuse StarCraft a little bit. There is definitely some more, I guess, verbal agreements made about how much they were going to put into StarCraft for its, you know, use of the game. And then they kind of just left $20 on the nightstand and left us, you know. But Alpha Star did beat some high-tiered pros, but it was very clickbaity from the get-go. I in total never really saw the appeal of the AI thing, but then additionally, the way that it was handled, it kind of left me with bad taste in my mouth. Like, well, they first played against TLO, didn't they? And TLO played is like off race or played, but he wasn't a pro gamer at the time. He had already moved on to being a team owner, not team owner, team leader, and then was working for Shopify. So like the headlines were like, you know, AI beats top tier pro, and it's like, well, but then it did eventually beat Mana, to be fair. But that also had problems because basically they couldn't ever really cap the potential of the AI. It was apparently extremely difficult to get it to stop using APM so well. So it was not mimicking human interactions in StarCraft very much at all. So that was kind of what tainted it for a while. And then as people are saying in chat correctly, as we do get started up here with the Heat guys, 3 gateways coming out fast for MaxPax, and then the Twilight Council. You guys are correct. Basically, Alpha Star was let loose on the ladder, and once people realized when it was Alpha Star, there were some very tricky things you could do against it. I think it never really got used to Liberators, for instance, something that it shares with the basic StarCraft AI. But yeah, it definitely wasn't, I guess, as, well, as you say, solved, I suppose, as like its chess counterpart, but we can go into that more after this game, perhaps, because the game is getting heated. HeRoMaRinE ended up going for a 3cc build, which, again, it sounds very dangerous against MaxPax. This one kind of makes a little bit of sense, however, just because you do still get your Marine and tank production, and perhaps if you can get a wall and bunkers up, it would still be okay. The same thing could be said about last game. He just didn't get those bunkers up, maybe. I don't know. But MaxPax isn't going for a 4-gate blink. He's going for early aggression. As you can see here, Plane Stalkers trying to out-micro some of the bigger battered units of the Terran. Can only do so much. Cyclone in particular staying alive, and all those attempts to snipe it is crucial to HeRoMaRine's defense. Now it's dead. But the tank is up and running, so that should cover things. The second tank also pops out. And the Reaper apparently is still alive. Hello? I was able to get the scout in the follow-up, saw that it was a Twilight Council as well as a Robo, and I might have even seen all 4 gases being taken. Yeah, that Reaper was king. That's all everything. So now you know what the follow-up is, which with the gateways also being counted, so 1, 2 plus the third, you know there's still a possibility for aggression. They could pump out a Robo, could pump out a Warp Prism from the Robo, but with all the gases taken, it would not be very committed. The gases are the sign of the future being thought of. Technology would be on the way. And if technology's on the way, they're not going to have as powerful of an attack. And it's not even going to bother trying to send out a Warp Prism. It eventually probably will, just because a Warp Prism's always very frightening to a Terran player. It's like that SpongeBob meme, where they're like, boo, a Warp Prism. Stop it! You're scaring him! MaxPax grabs a third base as well, and all signs point to a macro game for him. But HeRoMaRiNE, remember, got a third CC. So he really is living large after that little bit of tussle in the beginning. Had MaxPax been able to really out-micro the poor Terran, then maybe HeRoMaRiNE straight up dies. I guess, maybe. Probably not, but maybe. That would have required some huge mess-ups on HeRoMaRiNE's part. But as long as he didn't take mass amount of damage, then he's gonna have 3 CC. The blink in the high ground, as I've been saying, it's it's something, but it's not very committed. Anyway, just enough units in general to make sure you don't get overwhelmed. This will never be pokes and prods. MaxPax at this point does know it's a third CC build, even before seeing the third CC, probably just by the timing of the barracks and the medevacs. So he knows that economically he's not in very good shape. If he continues to contain HeRoMaRiNE, it might still work out well for him. And with him going up to Colossus, I don't think it's as important that he's, ahead of base, ahead by 10 workers. But he definitely needs to control this army as well as possible. Like, it's not going to be a particularly big one for MaxPax for a little while longer. Whereas HeRoMaRiNE is basically right now pumping at full capacity. He's got everything lined up, all of his add-ons, all his barracks. He has a good tank count, which is really going to help against this Colossus style, and he has the Raven. So MaxPax needs to buy time, harass, pick off units, threaten run-bys, and prepare to meet the engagements as far away as possible to elongate the time at which it takes HeRoMaRiNE to hit something important. So if MaxPax can get an army fight here and then back away, and then army fight here and then back away, he's on his way, And look at this, HeRoMaRiNE killed the pylon. MaxPax, almost as quickly as the pylon died, has a probe back on it, building another pylon. Fourth base on the way. HeRoMaRiNE in no hurry to try and move out. He's instead going to focus on getting maxed out. Comfortable on 3 CC, getting his static defense set up. Maybe he wants another missile turret, to be honest. Ghost Academy on the way. Again, his counter to the Colossus is not so much having double-pumped Vikings, but rather just the concave and tank shots. And certainly defensively, the tanks will have to cover him for now. Phoenix kind of seeking out intentions. Even seeing that it's moved over to reactor for the factory gives him some idea. He just saw the army move away to deal with a little bit of a run-by, so thought he had an opportunity to jump on top of some tanks. Perhaps with more charge lots he would have, but only grabs the one. Now is about to be surrounded. That was an oopsie-daisy for MaxPax. He's going to try and save some of his Colossus, though, with the Warp Prism popping out. This actually turns into a Nope, can't think of any clever wordplay. This actually turns around. HeRoMaRinE had a beautiful looking setup with the interference matrix, with the surround, and MaxPax, well, basically just figuring that if he force fielded over here, and then only mostly engaged over here, and saved his Colossus with the Warp Prism, he would be hunky-dory. And apparently he was. That was like, he predicted it. And possibly he did predict it, and that's why he dealt with it so freaking well. But geez Louise, that was... That was a recipe for disaster, and then it worked out fine. It's like, okay, all right, okay, I guess. MaxPax still being as bold as ever with his unit, something that HeRoMaRinE was not expecting, so he loses his Raven, as well as a handful of units. Disruptor's gonna look for the strike, just miscontrolled, honestly. Whoops-a-daisy. Some Zealots being set up for the run by HeRoMaRinE has basically already had his huge Haymaker stopped. He was building up momentum just by being so well secured on 3 bases and maxing out with good upgrades and a good army. Tons of Marauders, right? That was his like momentum builder, if you will. And he was supposed to just be able to push out and then be a big bully on the field. MaxPax was the one that was supposed to be like, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh geez, oh geez. And instead, MaxPax has handled him like putty. Rather impressive, honestly. Now to say that HeRoMaRinE is now down and out, of course. He still has a good army. He has a 4th CC, but like that Haymaker that he was building up to just got stopped in his tracks. It's like MaxPax used Time Warp on him. Now MaxPax is building up to a superior Protoss army. Eventually, this army will be traded out for mostly Blink Stalker Disruptor. Oh, no Observer's a bit awkward. Wouldn't getting tons of vision. Another surround being set up. Is MaxPax once again going to turn this into a no big deal, no big problem? It looks like it. All the Marauders not able to punch through the Archons quite as quickly as they were hoping, or maybe I was wrong. Disruptor's looking to save the day. Good split from HeRoMaRinE. Another good split. Nope, just kidding. That one is actually a strike. And MaxPax does end up losing a lot of the critical units to keep him alive, taking what he can get, but eventually we'll lose the Colossus, we'll lose the Disruptor, and MaxPax, he needs those reinforcements ASAP. HeRoMaRinE is a little stimmed, but really not even overly stimmed. MaxPax is going to have to buy more time, and that's exactly what a Disruptor is there for. Honestly, this fight was still better than I expected for the Protoss. There was so many Marauders. There was such a nice surround. The tanks were firing away as well. And MaxPax still managed to recover the situation. He didn't just straight up die. And since he is on 4 base saturation, actually 5 base, going on to 6 base, he did just need a couple extra warp-ins to keep him alive. And mass charge lots, the easiest, cheapest thing you can produce as a Protoss. Also something that does require a little bit of micromanagement for the Terran to deal with. So that they're ultimately not a great unit. They're not a great army. But if you are having the Terran army chase after you, and they're stimming, and they're not burrowing Widow Mines, they're not sieging up tanks, whatever it is, then Zealots are great. But, you know, if these Zealots try and take an engagement against a defensively positioned HeRoMaRinE, Lord Jesus, it's gonna be problems. Now, these Disruptors left alone was a little bit much. MaxPax threatening to lose all of his Disruptors. Nope, just kidding. 4 of them survive. HeRoMaRinE, every time he thought he could jump on the Disruptors, there was 1 more Disruptor shot. And now this particularly small army is gonna get jumped on by the Charge Lots, who are definitely using their mobility very well. These pesky Widow Mines still being a bother. Scan to reveal the Observer, so they continue to be a bother, but Disruptors, they can clean those up. They can buy that time. MaxPax, I still really want to emphasize, this is a more vulnerable army than you might be anticipating. Like, don't give it too much credit, but the way that MaxPax is using it, that's what you give credit to. MaxPax's upgrades are about to match his opponents. He's been out-upgraded for most of this game, which has affected some of the non-disruptor parts of the battle. That's what Disruptors are good for. Again, HeRoMaRinE just weathering the storm of Disruptor shots. Is now ready to go across the map, I would say. Clearing up the 5th base first of all, but the 5th base turned into a planetary. MaxPax still not on Dark Templar Blink, by the way. It's actually a bit uncommon for him. He is one of the Protosses I would say always makes sure to get that pretty quickly, 12, 13 minutes. But possibly some of these very dangerous battles has kept him from affording that kind of luxury, honestly. When you get DTs with Blink, it's, well, you feel very good as a Protoss player. MaxPax is reaching that point of economy that can afford anything the hell that it wants. He's going up to 7 bases, y'all. Although 1 base currently being denied by Widow Mines. There's HeRoMaRinE finally pushing forward, looking for the opportunity. Does he count the disruptor shot? Did he miscount the men? Ah, yes he did! Miscounted the men, Liz! Oh, that 1 disruptor shot just once again ruining HeRoMaRiNE's momentum. He scans the army, but they didn't scan behind it. No. HeRoMaRiNE still working on just basic bio units, by the way. +3 attack finish at some point, so it has been... Oh, no, it's still favored. It's still even, actually, on the upgrades. Okay. But anyways, he's not moving on into Liberators. He is still trying to make this mass bio work. Oh, my God, the dive is not going to work. Oh, kind of worked, I guess. That 1 disruptor shot, I thought it was going to be game over, man. It might still be game over. MaxPax is hella rich, no longer denied at mining anywhere on 93 probes, continuing to get upgrades. Here come the DTs. No Blink yet, though. I think MaxPax at this point might have just forgotten it. And he is just everywhere at once. HeRoMaRinE, you know, he might be able to pounce on his opponent and engage his opponent, like force engagements with MaxPax by not going into Liberators, but it also means he has to be crazy active, like so much APM, especially as DTs enter into the field. Thus far, the lack of DTs has been a kind of a blessing for HeRoMaRinE, but now that they're involved, it's going to be so difficult to be paying attention to all of your bases and trying to outmaneuver zealots and disruptor shots. So freaking difficult, and DT Blink will ensure that the next time those DTs run into that planetary, the planetary will be dead. That was the only thing that was missing. Liberators, they slow the game down, but they also, in a way, can secure your bases, right? Imagine 3 Liberators sieged up here. Would require a lot of effort for MaxPax to actually break it. But that's not something that HeRoMaRinE found viable. He didn't want to go that direction. He's trying to hold on with pure bio. Planetary is being mass repaired, but there's the Blink forward to tear it down. Oh my God, it barely holds. MaxPax losing a fight over on the right side as well as over the left side by the looks of things, and now his supply is lower than HeRoMaRinE. HeRoMaRinE was waiting for his time to strike. He kills a Nexus, but MaxPax got so many more. He's got so many warp-ins, 14 gateways. Gonna recall some of his army. He's gonna have to abandon ship on the right side. Nope, wait, Disruptors just out of scan range. Gonna be trying to hold on here. 5 of them. Are they gonna get the shots? HeRoMaRinE not paying attention. Absolutely gets the shots because he was paying attention over on the left side. HeRoMaRiNE's army now gonna be chased down potentially. It's not a particularly scary Protoss army, though, I gotta say. Not enough charge lots, not enough stalkers, no splash, as all of the splash has been committed to the right side. It looks like the Disruptors weren't able to kill every single unit, so the Nexus did eventually have to fall. And now this Nexus also might fall, and MaxPax is suddenly losing control of the map. And that was his biggest benefit, was having the map control, constantly attacking into HeRoMaRinE. Now HeRoMaRinE, finally getting his moment to shine, is the one with map control. And now flip the script. Disruptor Stalker is so much more difficult to use if you're being attacked every single direction. Disruptors get way harder to use just as far as APM usage, right? But they also get more likely to not deal that kind of attack-ending damage. They kill a couple of Marauders, but they don't kill all of them, thus still having your Nexus fall apart. MaxPax might be able to remax once again, and I do actually really like the Colossus choice. Something a little more dependable in his army rather than just Disruptors, but he has really lost control of the engagement. Shield Battery Overcharge might be able to save this base, but no recall, I believe. EMP actually affects everything. Colossus coming out now, but that is one sturdy Terran army. Plenty of Marauders, plenty of Medivacs with energy. The Colossus might not be enough. Gonna need to buddy up with a Disruptor, but even then, maybe not enough. Disruptors and Colossus to the right, only a basic gateway number to the left, not able to take on Marauders and a Planetary, and MaxPax has lost all that map control. He's lost all of his bases, he's lost most of his bank, no longer willy-nilly throwing away 13 DTs, which he really sorely needs at this point. He needs to gain back that map control, and harassment would be one of the best ways to do it, but it can't happen. Giving up base after base, now going for a bit of a desperate attack through the center. HeRoMaRinE has a lot of army coming in from different directions, which could turn favorable. It could turn into a surround. MaxPax has to make sure that doesn't happen. So far, so good. In this case, mostly just catching remnants of the Terran army apart from each other, which is much better. But here comes a surround. There it is. Disruptors firing to the north side finally, but one is actually taken down. MaxPax's supply starting to plummet. More Marauders come in. They're weak. They're injured, but they are doing it as the Disruptor shots are gone. The Stalker's forced to blink back. SCVs have died. Probes have died. Disruptors will get another good hit, but the planetaries will hold. And that is also a big issue for MaxPax. He might have been able to take care of some of these orbitals, but on bases that no longer are mining, HeRoMaRinE still has plenty of mining and plenty of production thanks to his planetaries. MaxPax sent back down to his original 4 bases with 55 probes. He's oversaturated no matter where we look. I actually don't know where his probes are. Apparently to the top left. Once again engaging through the middle. DT's coming in actually a bit desperately. Scans are still available, but how many is the question. HeRoMaRinE does have some extra orbitals, 5 in total. 1 has to lift. This is the last hurrah for MaxPax. Will it actually work out? HeRoMaRinE supply still looking a little bit stronger, but it is very, very even. Disruptor not going to get a shot. Last Disruptor gets taken down. Feedbacks almost look desperate, but it's better than nothing. And 2 DTs still hacking away, unscanned. No, 4 DTs actually. Probes killing SCVs to the top left, because why not? Everything happening all at once in the StarCraft 2 game. The Stalkers looking for victory. They're killing the Medivacs. They're killing the Marauders. The Archons forming in. Might just do the trick as HeRoMaRinE, desperate to protect his production, might not be able to do so. The wall's going to hold as long as possible. But no EMPs. Desperately making Marines because HeRoMaRinE's out of gas. And I think MaxPax might have actually done it. Stalkers are so good in these low unit scenarios. Crazy good, but the Marines starting to pump out. The Archons are gone. 4 Stalkers are left over. MaxPax, where's the reinforcements? There's none. Oh my god. At the very last second. HeRoMaRinE, holy shit. That ranks as one of the best TVPs I've seen this year, that's for sure. My god. I thought the Archons were gonna do it. I thought the Archons were the clincher, man. Archons against someone desperately making a mass Marine, you kidding me? But they were so low from the earlier engagements, they all got popped. Oh my god. Oof. Now it's even. In the top right of Royal Blood, it is MaxPax. In the bottom left, we have HeRoMaRinE. Golly gee williker. Every time I close the door, my cat is like determined to open it. I don't even close it all the way. But then cat just like, whoop. Entire house gets to hear you. Oh, okay, so, yeah, that last game could be tons to talk about. MaxPax, you know, I honestly think not going into the DT blink as fast as he usually does actually kind of cost him the game, you know, if we're going to pick one moment to really hone in on, I suppose. Because those DTs with blink would have killed that 5th base command center. Guaranteed. They got close without blink, so they definitely would have. And then without that 5th, there's a little less to work off of for HeRoMaRinE. Plus the DTs would have been threatened more DT blinks, which they didn't really get to do as they were chased down. And, you know, that's a DT blink might seem like a very overpowered thing when it just kills a planetary, you know, willy-nilly, no problem. But they really are necessary. Effective harassment is necessary for the Protoss to continue to have that map control. And we saw that MaxPax was doing a damn fine job without it, but eventually I think that did kind of come back to bite him. Eventually, he was forced to disengage a little bit, opening up the opportunity for HeRoMaRinE to take better concaves, to tackle those disruptors. And then it all falls to shit when you're the only one defending. When you're the defending one. When Blinkstalker Disruptor is on the defensive, trying to cover 7 bases, no way. Trying to cover 4 bases, that's also pretty damn difficult. So that really turned as soon as HeRoMaRinE got out on the map even a little bit. And DTs could have been the way that MaxPax forced HeRoMaRinE off the map again. But when they finally came around, they were less than best. They were not the best DTs ever. And then you also kind of reveal it. The DT presence, right? Like, the Terrans can't really determine at what point you build 8 DTs with blink to kill their planetary. But once you try and you fail, then the Terrans are like, okay, missile turrets and liberators, and like, I'm good. You're never gonna do that again. So I personally blame the DTs, their lack of. But there's a lot of things that happen in that game, of course. Oh, not gonna get another game like that, I can almost assure you. MaxPax is gonna go into 4-gate blink by the looks of things. Last game started off with a bit of a weird 3 gates, something that MaxPax has been developing, but it was not effective, and it was up against a 3cc. So HeRoMaRinE, really, in that game, he was ahead. He was in a really good position, I think, to be aggressive. And then I was noting that MaxPax was using his tools very, very well to cut HeRoMaRiNE's power. Because HeRoMaRinE definitely was growing very powerful off that 3cc, but then just couldn't get the punch going, you know? So that's how that started. And then it got all topsy-turvy. Once again, despite seeing a Twilight Council... Oh, he didn't actually see Twilight Council. Well, okay. Despite being suspicious of a Twilight Council, see Stalkers warped in. He's still gonna go for this Banshee thing. Let's see if the timing works out a little bit better this time around. Because of course it's a 4-gate. Depth gets taken down. Bunker with the wall is annoying for blink stalkers. If they blink, they can't walk back. So that's pretty easy peasy on the natural, but the main is still a problem. No shield battery at all this time around is a difference from that first game. And HeRoMaRinE has successfully hidden the Banshees. Oh, I thought I spoke too soon, but these are that's the Hellion and the Reaper, so no big problem, no big deal. Banshee being very patient to the left side. Here comes the 4-gate. This time around, we are going to have a bunker in the main, which I did say I really thought was going to be... would be very helpful in the first game. Let's see if I was right, because this is a very similar situation. Well, different blink this time around. Different blink. And now he knows about the tank. Doesn't know about the bunker, though. Doesn't know about the bunker. Now he knows. Yep, can't do it now. Can't do it now. He was going to drop that adept to soak the tank shot and then... be all fancy-dancy with it. Here we go. Banshee's coming in. Yeah, this is how this is supposed to look in the first game. This is beautiful now. This is beautiful. You have nipped the 4-gate in the bud. And now you have an opportunity to deal counter damage. And while these Stalkers are going to try and kill some SCVs, they have a lot to make up for. Banshee's killing 11 probes. Going to kill at least 6 more, I would say. 6, 7, 8 more. 19 probes in total, and both Banshees will end up living. Well, that's what you wanted. Okay, now that looks much better. The first game, it literally come down to the bunker, man. That's silly. Well, this is a big committal from the Stalkers. Up against a bunker, Marines, tanks. They didn't even kill all the tanks. Oh, finally got one. Stalkers, if they kill this other tank, might have had an opportunity here, but the Warp Prism goes down. And the Stalkers, well, apparently aren't even going to be able to combat the Marines, so... yeah, that's it, actually. MaxPax, one last hurrah. Does manage to kill 10 SCVs? Well, okay. Was that enough damage? He's still microing his little heart out, too. I mean, jeez. No, it doesn't kill the SCV. The Worger count is now even. But that's not good for Protoss. HeRoMaRinE doesn't have Stealing Combat Shield, so he can't really counterattack. I still think that's pretty much the game, but you know, it's definitely a little bit closer. It's certainly a type of game that MaxPax is familiar with, one which his 4-gate didn't quite work, so he's behind, but then he still managed to pull a rabbit out of his hat. The Banshee's even killing further probes. Finally kills one. Six probes additional damage is already so much. It's already so much the context of this game. Ay vey. MaxPax just probably gonna go for a desperate charge all in, basically. I think. What are the options here? He is gonna get an upgrade, so it's not gonna be an all in. So he's gonna try and be the best Stalker user ever. Which, you know, he probably is. And then he's gonna try and do run-bys with the Zealots while getting up to possibly Storm. He's already missed the army, however, which doesn't bode well. Stalkers alone are not gonna force a real base race. He will get a couple of Marauders, but then you gotta wonder where's the army. Oh, there it is. Oh, oh geez, oh geez. And Stalkers recalling are gonna help against Bio. Stemmed Bio with 1-1. Yeah, GG. Well, that was much better than the first game. I mean, those Banshees looked like a terrible idea in the first game, but it just came down to that bunker. A bunker creating a physical barrier, a physical structure that you have to jump over is something. Obviously, not as easy to kill a bunker either. Adding range to the Marines as well is something we don't really highlight a lot with bunkers, but, you know, they do that too. Yeah. Yeah. Oof. Well, that last game was a lot simpler. Still kind of exhausted after the second game. I can't believe these guys went so quickly into game 3, not quickly into game 4. The bottom right now in his last life, he is MaxPax. In the top left, it is HeRoMaRinE. Turns out HeRoMaRinE was right all along. The Banshees were an excellent idea. You just need to make sure to defend against the 4-gate back at home, and that is usually much tougher than against any other Protoss in the world. Even though Hero is very well known for his aggressive strategies, I would say the highlight for Hero is on his 4-gate. He can do a 4-gate, but he doesn't even do it that often. And it's not his highlight. For MaxPax, he's an aggressive Protoss who has 2 very effective builds. It's only a slight exaggeration. And the 4-gate is renowned as the best in the world. The players he faces says that it is more difficult to defend than anyone else. And that's not just the European players he faces either, that is also the Korean players. Who, you know, they could easily say, oh, well, it's only difficult because we're always playing cross-server, but they don't. They put a lot of respect on MaxPax. I think MaxPax and offline would be a very, very, very different beast. Will be a worse beast, but only because he'd be so nervous. I don't think he's gaining a lot of favors by playing cross-server all the time. Maybe one day. He's like inching closer to maybe going to a tournament. Like Katowice, for instance, apparently he was actually thinking about going. Whoa, man. Unfortunately, it does seem like he just has crippling anxiety, which is quite unfortunate. But anyway, he's a damn fine StarCraft player, but he is on the ropes, down 1 game, though. Certainly brought it back from worse positions. HeRoMaRinE, I can't believe he won that second game, actually. You know, the third game makes a lot of sense when you finally see how it's supposed to work out, but yeah, it just, well, anyways, yeah, HeRoMaRinE loses the first game, somehow wins the second one, crazy game, and the third one is just, that's the type of lineup that you want when you choose a build. That's the... If he was streaming, I think he was streaming. And in the first game, he was like, well, that's not how that was supposed to go. Trust me, though, it's really amazing. Yeah, he was certainly validated for the third game. I still would be very wary of doing it repetitively as your main defense against Blink Stalkers, though, right? Because as soon as they realize that's your gamble, then they do... Well, a shield battery wouldn't stop the two... I guess what would happen, I don't know, MaxPax, he's definitely intent on forwarding. I'm actually trying to think this one through. So a shield battery wouldn't stop 2 Banshees from killing layer probes. And HeRoMaRinE does wait for both Banshees. So a shield battery wouldn't help out. MaxPax is not the type of person to stop going for a 4-gate though. So as clever as it could be for another Protoss to go only for a 2-gate and then just, you know, hard counter the Banshees, yeah, MaxPax thinks the 4-gate is the bee's knees, the cat's pajamas. He's a real big believer in this being an actual build you can do over and over and over again. Much like Morrow and his T-Rex for a few years, you know? So he's gonna do it again. Do it again. This time around, it's not gonna be a Banshee opener from HeRoMaRinE, so we're not gonna see how it works out now that MaxPax is more wary of the possibility. It is going into just a Raven. HeRoMaRinE did scout the Twilight Council, has scouted the number of gateways. Twilight Council, as I've been saying, is probably enough. Probably figured it out. And he is once again building a wall at the front, as well as probably a bunker in the main. I gotta figure it's on the bunker in the main. His 2 builds being a DT rush and a 4-gate. But he actually does do the triple gateway opener, like in game 2. And he also does occasionally do Phoenix Colossus. MaxPax is, I don't know, I guess a man of few builds, but of many variations. So, there's that. Well, here we go. No bunker in the main. Now, this time around, he does have a Raven for an auto turret, which does pack a punch. The Viking pops out as well. It could land. And he does have so much space to position his units correctly in his SimCity correctly. So that's probably all the reasons he didn't feel the necessity for building a tank. But uh-oh, 1 tank goes down, Raven will go down, 2nd tank won't be sieged, simply run away from the auto turret. But hold on, big problem. Warp Prism getting killed? Nope, just kidding, it's the Viking. All those units combined together for HeRoMaRinE were supposed to kill something important. Enough Stalkers, the Warp Prism, save one of the units, at the very least. And instead, MaxPax got everything he wanted from that push-in. The Raven, a tank, and a Viking. And only lost 4 Stalkers, which isn't too bad. Another tank. He's like, am I gonna do it? Am I gonna do it? You don't know. Am I gonna do it? Yeah, I am! Leads with the Stalker to take the punch, then blinks in. HeRoMaRinE kind of saw this one coming and unsieged the natural tank to help out. And an unsieged tank's DPS is nothing to sneeze at. Nice read there from HeRoMaRinE. MaxPax did kind of telegraph his intentions by, well, purposefully sticking over to the left, right? So the more that a Protoss just stays on the left side of this map, the more that you figure, well, the natural's not to be defended. The more he's going to try and break me in the main. So good read from HeRoMaRinE, who is currently supply blocked. That's his biggest problem. Kind of overcompensating with 4 supply depots now on the way. Maybe figuring some of them would be stalled out, and he's absolutely right about that. MaxPax transitioning into harassment mode. The natural successor to the big 4-gate is just picking up 4 Stalkers and harassing the SCVs. And without the Viking, he is allowed to do so. Another reason why that Viking kill was really, really nice. Well, good old-fashioned miscontrol. Actually, I think he just thought they wouldn't be able to reach it. That was not correct. And MaxPax is not one to make that mistake too often. This kid plays so many games and of the same build. He usually has this down to a T. Now MaxPax is well and truly screwed, I think. Warp Prism was the only thing keeping him scary in this game. And he doesn't have enough Stalkers to stop this counterattack. His at-home defense is looking quite limited. His army supply currently half that of his Terran opponent. And the Terran opponent is also going for a 5 racks 2 base attack, something he did discover with his Warp Prism, but after things had already gone south. So there's not much he could do to fix it. 2 medevacs hit the main. MaxPax completely underprepared for this. No way he really could be prepared. Couldn't have seen it coming and can't split his army. So I think HeRoMaRinE has got this best of 5 locked up nice and tight unless MaxPax can pull out a miracle, which sometimes happens. I think it was a lot more common about 6 to 12 months ago. MaxPax would lose with his 4-gate, but then do the old razzle dazzle, you know, charge out run bys, warp for some shenanigans, and Terrans would still lose against them. But I think they've kind of fixed those holes in the follow-up, and now they mostly win against them after defending the 4-gate. Mostly, not always. Which does, again, make me question if MaxPax sticking to yield 4-gate is actually the best way to play Protoss. Could he be a better Protoss if he didn't do this so often? Maybe. HeRoMaRinE still has all the tanks intact. I love little Archon, but, you know, it is scanned, so even the AI knows it's a hallucination. That is very much a real Colossus, but too late to defend. HeRoMaRinE will take the 3-1 in really some of the best play displayed in game number 2. The other games, a little more, had it like linear, a little more like, well, this, then this, then this, then this. That second game, really taking the time to think back on it after this best of 5 is done. That was amazing Terran play. I mean, it was amazing from both sides, but a Terran player usually is straight up exhausted halfway into that game too. They're exhausted physically and mentally. They're like, I hate this game. Protoss is stupid. Whatever, YOLO. And somehow HeRoMaRinE didn't fall into that, man. GG's.